Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
So much happened today. We didn't even get to a top 10 matchup. So Kansas
Right.
faces Oklahoma, and Kansas wins 78-66. It's a ho-hum performance by the Jayhawks. And for the Sooners, they've got some reflecting to do off of a tough week for them. Jeff, how did Kansas get this done? What did you take from this win for the Jayhawks?
Well, wasn't with their outside shooting, that's for sure. Their biggest weakness, in I think everybody's opinion, they went 3 for 15 from beyond the arc. Hunter was Hunter again. He didn't get in foul trouble. He stayed in the court. I don't think Oklahoma's that good. I think ultimately when we're going to look at Oklahoma and the Sooners at the end of the year, they're going to be a 10 seed or something like that, not a top 10 team, 15 team, as they played like early. Give them credit. Here's what Kansas did. They did what DeJuan Harris does, right? They took care of the ball. Only 2 turnovers. First time, I think, in the history of Kansas's program, they had 2 turnovers in a game, and they made every free throw. So, you can, if you do everything else well, and they guard, which, again, that's what Kansas has to hang its hat on. Guarding, taking care of the ball, and winning in kind of a, Hunter, McCullough, KJ Adams, those 3 have to honestly get you, 50 to 60 points. And then you got to get a little bit from DeJuan Harris and a little bit from your bench. And hopefully Furphy can keep coming along a little bit here.
I think the best way to sum up what Kansas is this season, I saw a stat from our guy, Evan Miyakawa over at evanmaya.com. He ranked the 5th men, Evan Maya.
Who's it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you're kidding or not, but evanmaya.com, he put together a list of ranking the 5th men and the 5th starters for every team in college basketball, right? And I think he had it as Nick Timberlake as the 5th man for Kansas, ranked 64th in the country, the 64th best last starter when it comes to teams in college basketball. And that sums up everything you need to know about where this program is and where this team is and what they can be this year, because I think it's fair to say that you are as good as your weak link, right? And it's just they're a team with 4 guys. And I don't think any
That's
of us
what we say here at the field.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what we say at the Field of 68 with you all the time.
Fair enough. Are you calling me the Nick Timberlake of Field of 68?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm calling you.
You are the Nick Timberlake of the Field of 68. You have disappeared.
Oh, man. But you know what's funny about that? Here's the way that'll tie it all together. The best 5th man in the sport right now in college basketball, according to our guy Evan, is Cam Spencer. And I think that when you look at who UConn tried to get, who they ended up getting, who Kansas could have gotten if they didn't get the guy that UConn was trying to get, and look at where UConn is right now, I think that kind of there's some contrast there. That's a conversation for a different day.
All right, let's keep it rolling in the Big 12. Final score, TCU 68. Number 2, Houston 67. Emmanuel Miller. Oh, come, Emmanuel. Part 2. Horned Frogs win. How much credit does Jamie Dixon deserve for this week, Jeff? Wow.
Man, I'll tell you what. That's like elite level coaching, preparation, and not from a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint. What Jamie Dixon did to get these guys focused in and locked in, Dagan Hughes, locked in, is incredible, because you think about it, they were screwed out of a game in Lawrence. They had that game won, and again, we know this story. Ernest Uday, flagrant one, hits Hunter Dickinson in the face, and they end up losing that game. They could have put their heads down and lost that next game. But they come back, they win that one. And then they beat Oklahoma, and then they beat Houston. 2 huge wins for them. And they had played the softest Charmin-like non-conference schedule probably of any decent team in the country. And I think Dixon did it on purpose, knowing hey, listen, if we do enough in the Big 12, it's not going to matter what we did in the non-conference. But they had to take care of business, and they did it twice here, because now the loss of Kansas, not a big deal. It's not going to hurt you. especially when you get these two like they did.
Yeah, I mean, look, the job that the way that you can get your team paying attention to playing the likes of Oklahoma, who Jeff might hate them, right? But I still think that they are probably a top 25 team. And then going and playing number 1, number 2, number 3, depending on the metric that you looked at, Houston, after that loss is really, really impressive. And I think that they made a little bit of a statement here, right? Like if you look at what they did previously before this week, it was losing to Clemson on a neutral. It was losing to Nevada on a neutral, beating up a bunch of teams that Goodman might be able to start at the 4-4, and then having a game ripped out of their hands at Kansas. And you can look at that and say that's something that could cost them this season, right? Like that legitimately could be the kind of thing that could determine whether or not you are on the right side of the bubble or the wrong side of the bubble, a win like that. And you got to give them credit for being able to go out and win these 2 games. And I'll tell you what, that is a good team. That TCU team is tough. They are good. They are always going to guard you. They're always going to get out in transition. I love the change that Jamie Dixon has made. Like if you go back and think to his Pitt teams, they're kind of grind you out, tough, physical. They want to win games in the 50s. They want to win games in the low 60s, like very much that throwback old Big East era style of play. And you look at what they're doing now. They're like top 30 in the country in tempo. They're top 30 in the country in pace and in average offensive possession length. They want to force turnovers and they want to get out and run and they want to let their athletes do athletic stuff. And it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and you wouldn't believe this, but TCU has the most 1,000-point career scores on a roster in college basketball. And their average, I know, their average age is around 23, 22 and a half, 23. They're old. Travion Tennyson is old. Yeah, right. They're an old team, and that's a great win for them. I think it's also part of life in the Big 12. Welcome to it, Houston. You're 1-2. Houston was the number 2 team in the country entering this week, and they're 1-2 in the Big 12 conference, the best conference in college basketball. All right.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.